Little Nitro.
Stacked.
If James lost, he'd have to eat a dub.
I'm not doing that. Did you see that clip of Deion Sanders?
You don't call Nick Saban Nick. Don't call me Deion.
Let me put some respect on his name. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Paul Rodriguez Show. It is Tuesday, the 28th, the last day of February of 2023. In the building, producer James steadily repping, the people at old, what do they call that thing called? Marvel Comics. Pretty sure it's owned by a different owner at this time. But the man of the DF dub, ladies and gentlemen, going to welcome warmly Wes Washington out of the suburbs of the greater Dallas and Fort Worth area. We're going to include Fort Worth, Wes. You claiming Fort Worth or what?
I don't see why. It's like an hour away.
You too bougie for that. Okay, I get it, man. I understand. How you living, man? How are things this Tuesday evening for you?
Oh man, I'm still a little tired from the weekend. Was down in Austin, so a little worn out, but glad to be back here at home. But I had a good time in Austin. It was for a sad thing, but it was good to see everybody, man. It was a good moment we had with giving Nas Cool's dad that hat that everybody signed for the Eagles.
Paid a lot of respect. One of our early fans, Nas Cool, rest in peace, did a little tribute for him. So we'll put that hat on social media just to give everybody a quick gander. Very good gesture. His family, I'm sure, appreciated that. Big weekend in sports. We have the Combine coming up later this week for the NFL. The draft is soon upon us in the month of April. The NFL is pretty much never stopping about nowadays, which it was pretty much like that for a long time, but there's a lot more eyes on it at this time. Lots of news going on back and forth. We have the Lamar contract trying to get squared away. We have the NCAA March Madness coming up with this weekend or next weekend, Wes? 2 weeks?
So it's 2 weekends.
2 weekends from now.
Everybody's got their final game this Saturday, regular season game. Then you got next week, you'll have conference tournaments starting probably as early as next Wednesday, I believe.
More college. And then, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And then, you'll have Selection Sunday. So not this Sunday coming up, but the Sunday after that will be Selection Sunday. And then you'll have probably the what they call them, the play-in games, I think, starting that Tuesday after Selection Sunday.
A little more on the Paul Rodriguez Show tonight. This week, we'll be having our second set of our top five. This week, we'll be doing strong safety, so we'll give our top five. This is a weekly rendition of what we believe to be the best position. Last week, we did the centers. This week, we're doing strong safeties. We'll have each position over the next 20 weeks. Today is week 2. We have 20 more that will lead up right up into the OTAs and training camp for the NFL, when we'll go ahead and divulge each one of us our top positions overall of all time for pretty much our ultimate fantasy football team from the entire existence of the NFL. More news tonight, Wes. I'm not quite sure if you've heard. I'm pretty sure you have. Lots of interest from a university in the Southeastern Conference for the recently let go Chris Beard. They are actively, it's Ole Miss to my knowledge. Is that right?
Yep.
What have you been hearing? In the Southeastern Conference chat rooms, an old term for some of you young bucks out there. What's the skinny man? What's going on out there? What are you hearing in the interwebs?
Well, I'm hearing this basically, that's the way it's going to go. Only thing that I would think would hurt it, if possibly you have people that are around the organization that don't want Chris Beard, because even though charges were dropped and all that kind of stuff, right? Something went down and something happened. So all depending on I think that or everybody around it, the boosters, what they say, I think that's what's going to happen. But I kind of it'd be good for Chris Beard. That's a big time program to get back to when could have been blacklisted from everywhere for what went down. So for him to come back and get that quick to Ole Miss,
right?
That's a
This is something we kind of discussed a little bit a couple of weeks ago, and I was quite concerned that there was going to be a team that may come out quickly and jump or get in line for the services for Chris Beard, and we have that now with Ole Miss coming in, and I'm sure there's a lot of boosters who have a lot of money who are going to go in and make a handsome offer for Chris Beard services. Again, allegedly there was a situation that occurred in Austin, Texas. It was then the charges were dropped by the person who had made the allegations, and then the DA for the city of Austin dropped those. The Travis County DA dropped those charges on Chris Beard. So now he was able to go ahead, and he was dismissed from the University of Texas, and is now moving on, potentially could be signing early with the Ole Miss. I want to call them the Rebels, but they're not the Rebels. What are they, Wes?
They are the Ole Miss Rebels.
Is it just the
Rebs? Did they
Rebs?
change your name?
It could be. They changed so many things at Ole Miss. It's I really couldn't tell you right now. All I know is on their helmet it just says Ole Miss.
I thought it was the Ole Miss Rebels. I didn't know about a name change, but I can understand if they did change it because because I think I know the old school Rebel that they had on there. He had like a Confederate flag, like he basically like a Confederate like general, right?
Look out of it. It could be a caricature of certain individuals from potentially the Civil War. I don't know. I'm not that much of an Ole Miss fan to kind of keep track of it, but I'm sure there's some people out there that would definitely say hotty toddy and definitely give us a little bit of insight. If you are out there, go ahead and give us a comment in the chat below. This is a pre-recorded show tonight. Usually we go live on Tuesdays. We had a little bit of a mix-up, so we are getting into it on a pre-recorded show, something different. Entertain us in the chat. We usually have a lot of people out there who are engaging, so we appreciate whoever is tuning in tonight watching the show. Gentlemen, big fight last night. Jake Paul taking on Tyson Fury. We're going to lean on
Sunday.
I'm sorry, I meant Sunday. Today's Tuesday, Monday. Guys, I'll be honest with you. I've been busy. Okay, I've been busy the last 2 days, so it was Sunday night. We're going to lean on our resident, what we're going to call you, the popular scientist? Are you the resident popular culture scientist?
Combat sports, I don't know.
Aficionado.
There you go.
All right, man.
Right
James, what is it, man? How did this fight turn out? I heard it was a split decision. Fury got the victory. Where was this fight at to begin with? Where was this held at?
It was actually in Saudi Arabia.
All right.
Yeah, I was surprised. But, I mean, it worked out. I was barbecuing Sunday. And
so what time did the fight go down? What time was the main event?
Probably like 3, 4 o'clock, middle of the day.
So it had to have been, early in the morning over there, I would assume?
Guessing, yeah. Yeah. But the card itself was pretty good. There were some good fights on there. As far as that card, I haven't been paying too much attention to like the build up, just because it's Jake Paul, and let's be honest, it's Tyson Fury's brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Did it live up to the hype that everybody was we know the Paul brothers are going to be marketing this thing all over social media.
Yeah.
That's kind of given, but was the output of Jake Paul competitive with Fury?
I think he did good. I think he did good. I think he
it was surprising to you?
Well, here's the thing. It's not surprising because
okay.
We're already, this isn't the beginning of the whole Jake Paul stuff. He's been fighting these guys. He's been picking his fights. Mm-hmm. He knows what he's doing.
Right.
He's making his money in the process. Can't hate on the guy. Mm-hmm. But this was the first real boxer for the casuals. Tommy trash, dude. Who has he fought?
I don't know.
And seeing the way that he's been acting throughout this whole ordeal with him and Jake Paul, I was just highly annoyed. I was like, dude, I hope Jake Paul goes in and knocks this dude out.
So this is a fight where Jake was more the protagonist, the good guy, the baby, not the heel in most instances.
Depends on who you are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, they're both annoying, but I was like, dude, I was just highly annoyed by Tommy Fury. I feel like he ain't fought nobody.
Okay.
I feel like he can't fight.
But Jake Paul is pretty much in the boxing world. Is he a somebody?
I mean, I think now. I mean, he obviously has. I mean, you knock out Tyrone Woodley like that. But I was my kiddos, dude. This is how crazy these guys are. So we were watching UFC last weekend. I'll get back on topic, but we were watching UFC last weekend, sponsored by Prime, who is owned by Logan Paul and KSI, whose content is marketed, I feel like, mainly towards like these younger generations and stuff. So they see Prime, oh, Prime, they know where it's at, they know how much it is, they know. I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, they've been secretly coming in my room at night marketing Prime to
through YouTube.
Yeah. So they definitely know what they're doing. But you know, I was explaining to them you know, the whole just how boxing goes and the grooming that goes on with, you know, up and coming fighters, which you can't deny that Jake Paul, he can fight. As far as like who he's gonna fight, you know, you can't put him in there with like a Manny Pacquiao, you know, like someone who, like a Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, you know, it's not like he doesn't have like world class, but he can go in there and hang with a lot of these guys. I feel like he has power, he has knockout power, you know.
And what weight is he fighting at?
He is man, I want to say it's welterweight. I want to say 180, 70. So
would you consider him, like, based off his performance, would you consider him a contender, or he's just climbing the ranks?
It's hard to say because he's picked his fights.
Right, he's handpicked his fights.
But you know, like, within doing so, a lot of these guys are accepting the contract because they're making more money than they've ever made in their careers.
Right, but don't you think, do you believe that these fights are, do you believe that they're scripted? Do you think that the outcome is already known?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I do.
I used to, but no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think the outcome's known.
Yeah. Yeah, you're either, I mean, it's like you go watch a movie, you know, like.
I believe 90% of boxing, the outcome's already known.
Yeah.
It's not just Jake Paul.
Yeah, that is true. But it's almost like you go watch Fast and Furious. You gotta, what do they call it? You gotta suspend reality, you know, and put yourself into these to enjoy it fully. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be like, I used to. Trust me, I used to. You know, and I was like, I mean, it's fun. You know, I'm not buying it, but it's fun. It's fun to watch these guys duke it out. You don't know what's gonna happen. Personally, I was going for Jake Paul.
Sure.
I was gonna put a bet. I didn't. Unlike Drake. $750,000 for Jake Paul to knock out Tommy Fury, which didn't happen.
Yeah, he won a lot of money on the Super Bowl. It's okay.
Yeah, trust me, I know he's not losing any sleep at night.
No, not at all.
But yeah, Tommy Fury won by split decision. Surprise. He got knocked down once by Jake Paul, which was a legit knockdown. It wasn't a slip or anything. So I don't know, man. If I was Tommy Fury or if I was his brother, I'm like, dude. Like, I mean, I don't know. You won, but I feel like you don't have anything to be proud about. You know what I mean? Like, you're a legit boxer. You went in and fought a YouTuber. You know, you should have dusted this guy, and you went to a 8-round decision.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me back and circles back around to the outcome is going to be, for a guy like Fury, is going to probably be leaning his way, but at the same time, Paul's going to make sure that he makes it look a certain. He's going to make sure the illusion is there, in my opinion. Just because of that type of, like, how long has Tommy Fury been fighting? His whole life, right? He's a pikey. He's been fighting his whole life. And that's my point, is that this outcome, along with his money, is going to come with a certain degree of understanding of what's going to be the outcome.
Yeah.
185, it looks like, is what they fought at this past Sunday.
185, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Tommy Fury's been fighting for, it says, yeah.
His whole life. His whole life.
Dude.
That's my point. That's what leads me to believe. That's what leads me to believe. Like,
but if you've seen his other fights, which, like, I briefly looked up highlights too, there's nothing impressive. Like, how have you been fighting your whole life? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
But like you said, you know, it is boxing. There's so much money that's involved and all of that stuff. So
a lot of business and work.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave it right there. A lot of business and work.
Yeah.
Wes, go ahead, James. Got one more?
No, just I was gonna touch on everyone's the boxing community is all hyped up for Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia to be fighting in April.
Right.
Because in the boxing, you hardly get these big super fights, which we were just blessed being
You
part
think
of that.
that's a super fight?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's been long awaited. Although, like, I mean, just because I know, like, I have boxing friends and stuff that are like, and I'm like, dude, we see that all the time, I feel like, in UFC. Like,
Right.
we're not spoiled. This is what it should be, the best fighting the best. But in boxing, you have so many different commissions. You have so much money that's involved, promoters who are trying to get their cut. When these negotiations go down, they often fail because, what size of gloves, how long, how many rounds? Well, obviously 12, but is there a rematch clause? Is this? There's so much. In the UFC, it's like, hey, you're going to fight or you're not,
Right.
So we had Volkanovski versus Islam, which, like, I want to see a rematch, but I realized that we were blessed to be given that fight. But, I mean, we got a big fight coming up this week with Cyril Gane and John Jones.
Yeah, just keep. We'll stop it right there because we're going to talk about that more a little bit later. Wes, let's pull you back in, man. I know you're a little distracted there, man. When's the last time you saw a boxing match?
Jeez. It was back when I was in Austin working the restaurant. I think what did I say? Well,
No, man, not you working, not you working. You actually sat down, you had a beer, you had some
I can
food.
tell you that.
Is it like is it Holyfield Tyson?
No, I mean, I don't think that far back, but I didn't go out and watch boxing. I don't go out and watch boxing. Now, like
Not
I
even
said,
at the
when I was
house?
working in restaurants or whatever, I kind of had to watch them or whatever just because I was at work. But I don't sit down and watch boxing now.
Any other
Sorry.
the other combat sports you sit down and watch, or you just not? You just the Dallas Cowboys sit down and watch kind of guy.
I sit down and watch basketball, of course.
Just those two
Nice.
sports.
It's just not I'm not combat or whatever. I mean, sometimes I just kind of fall into it because somebody might be like, we might be over somebody's house and
Yeah,
we've watched.
That's what I'm
football
talking about.
already,
that's what I'm
and
talking
then
about.
somebody was like, "Hey, let's get that," but I can't remember any of the fights because I don't know the names because I didn't even know it was a fight on. So like, I remember seeing Ronda Rousey way back in the day because we'd be sitting there and we saw some of her fights.
Okay, Derek Lewis.
But boxing wise, I mean, it's been a long time. It used to be pretty good, like in the De La Hoya days and like Trinidad.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Yep.
I remember seeing those being pretty big on those, but man, heavyweight boxing is just pretty boring now. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people would argue with you about that.
I mean, I just watched the highlights. It came up on my feed.
For who?
For Deontay Wilder, fight of the year, I believe last year,
Against?
Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury 3. That was the third time
Yeah,
they fought.
that was a trash fight. That fight was trash.
Did you watch it?
Yes,
Doesn't
I watched
sound like
it.
you did. How was that a
the
trash
best
fight?
dude, we all know Wilder came in way too heavy. He could barely get to the end of the fight.
Yeah,
And it was just a straight boxing clinic by Fury.
Yeah, I mean,
All he
Deontay-
did was piece him up from the outside.
Yeah,
This
Wilder
isn't a fight.
he knocked down Fury. There was some suspense in there. He knocked down Fury twice in one round. So,
Work. That's the way I see it, man. Because I'm just like, there's no way this brawler is gonna touch this boxer unless the boxer lets him. That's just my thing. The best fight, like throwing hands. If you want to put one up there, you might as well put up the Cuban. What's his name? Luis
Ortiz.
or Ortiz. There you go, Ortiz and Areola. That heavyweight fight was just throwing bangers.
Yeah.
But you have two brawlers. Styles make fights. You have two styles that they're just gonna throw, and no one's gonna get knocked out because they just got too big of heads.
Yeah, I like Luis Ortiz also. He's old though.
We don't even know how old he is.
Yeah.
I don't think they have any birth records for him. I'm said for him, not for all, but for him.
Yeah. He had some good fights. Looking at it through the eyes of Deontay Wilder, could knock him out twice.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it just goes back to the styles make the fight. If you get a boxer versus a brawler, it's not gonna be that fun unless that brawler just connects. When it can just take one punch.
Yeah. That's a beauty of a fight.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
That's why I like MMA is because it could be a foot or a hand or an elbow or a shoulder. Connor showed us that. It could be a shoulder.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's get into a quick break. 8:29. Give us 2 minutes. We'll reset, come back, and then Wes, do you got any trivia you want to give the folks before we go to break?
Oh, man. How you going to catch me off?
Should have asked you before that. I got one for you. I got one for you. Hey, make up a Dallas trivia question real quick. Easy, go.
Make up a Dallas.
When was the Dallas? What year was the Dallas Cowboys' first Super Bowl? When was the Dallas Cowboys' first Super Bowl? I don't even know that. Do you know us?
I want to say 78.
When we come back, we'll look it up and we'll get into it. Leave it in the comments. When was the Dallas Cowboys' first Super Bowl? It wasn't 78. Back into the mix. Let's get to it. For the Dallas Cowboy question, you had a little time to Google it. You had a little time to look it up. The winner of the 1972 Super Bowl VI between the Dallas Cowboys and the Miami Dolphins, Tom Landry's American team, Dallas Cowboys. Did I say it right, Wes? America's team. When they were America's team. When Roger the Dodger, the inventor of the Hail Mary, came out and took it to the Miami Dolphins. The next year they would go on and be undefeated. But it's 1972, Dallas Cowboys beat the Miami Dolphins in Tulane Stadium in New Orleans. 24 to what, Wes? 24 to... Do you know?
No, I do not.
24 to 3, I believe. Yeah.
It's not that good.
24 to 3. Dallas Cowboys that year 11-3. Quite a show. What do you remember from the 1972 season, Wes?
I don't remember anything. That's why I don't remember the score.
Because you weren't there.
Yeah, I wasn't there. I'm old. I'm not that old.
I wasn't there either. James was a twinkle and a twinkle. I think I was too. I wished upon a star. Just going to say. All righty, guys. Let's get into the mix. Our top 5 at the strong safety position. This is your top 5 of all time. And if you have anybody in that list from the 1970s or 80s, I'm going to laugh at you.
Can I go first?
Sure, well, James. You want to volunteer?
Yeah, because I feel like you guys are more.
I know one person that's going to be in there from yours from the 1980s.
Really?
I have a feeling.
I don't know, man. It's I don't know, man.
Let's see if he's loyal to his brand or loyal to his native Wisconsin.
So number 1 or okay.
Yes, let's do 5 to 1.
Yeah. Okay. So number 5, I'm gonna go, and of course, a lot of these guys I'm not really familiar with, except for probably like my top 3. I'm gonna go ahead and put Ed Reed up there
at 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Little shocking.
Okay. 4, I'm going Brian Dawkins. Okay.
I am okay. These are some names. I'm kind of curious who 3, 2, and 1 are.
Okay. I'm going number 3. I'm going Darren Woodson.
Okay. All right. Shocking.
Number 3, I'm going Leroy Butler.
Shocking.
Number 2, I'm going Ken Houston from.
You just went 3, 2, and this is supposed to be 1.
Is it?
This is supposed to be 1 right here.
Okay, so number 1, obviously, I'm going Troy Polamalu.
Okay, that's.
But you gotta remember, me growing up watching, and dude, I just remember this dude back there just shoo, 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 shoo. Mm-hmm. Dragon Ball Z fans, it was like just teleporting across.
But it wasn't teleporting.
Everywhere.
But it wasn't though.
Yeah, I know, but it appeared that way for me as a child and being a young dude watching this.
If you think Troy Polamalu was,
I think it was the hair
teleporting all over the place, then I want to know what you thought about Brian Dawkins. And he was 5.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I gave a warning, before.
Okay.
It's
not a bad list.
Yeah.
A couple of questions, but not a bad list.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say bad. Wes, what do you want to do next?
All right. So my list,
Hold on, Wes. What do you think of James's list? What do you grade it?
I mean, I thought his list was pretty good.
It's not bad. Not bad.
I'm not as hard on him as you, so I would say it's a B plus.
I had a B minus.
Thank you, Wes.
I had a B minus. Oh, y'all are getting along. Isn't that sweet? Go ahead,
We'll
Wes.
see what happens once football season starts.
Yeah, that'll be a totally
I think we get
different
along
story.
because it's not football season.
True.
My list, I started off number 5 is Rodney Harrison.
Okay.
Number 4, I go with Darren Woodson.
Questionable. Okay.
Number 3, I go with John Lynch.
Good pick.
Number 2, I got Troy Polamalu.
Good pick.
And number 1, I got Ronnie Lott.
Great pick. You can see a lot of similarities. Wes, you get an A minus, sir. A minus.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, so I got to find out where I missed that.
So for me, number 5 is John Lynch. All right. Number 4 is there's two guys. It's Brian Dawkins and it's Ed Reed. Which one? Who thinks it's Ed Reed? James thinks it's Ed Reed. It is. Number 4 is Ed Reed. Number 3 is Brian Dawkins. Number 2 is Troy Polamalu. And number 1, the man who gave up a finger and came back and finished the game, Mr. Ronald Lott. If Ronnie Lott's not number 1, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. If Ronnie Lott's ain't 1, I want to talk to you. I'm just sorry. I'm just saying. And James, it's not fair to you because you grew up when Ronnie Lott was at the end of his career. So it's not really fair. But look, that man could play in any era. He could have played in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. He could play today. He's that big. He's that fast. And he was impermeable to pain. The man was an outright savage human. Best defensive back. I want to say almost best defensive back I've ever seen, except for one man out there who's got 8 toes down. I'm gonna just leave it right there.
I mean, yeah, Ronnie Lott. It was especially the story where it's like, hey, we got to do surgery on your fingers. I'll just take it. I gotta get back in the game.
Yeah, babe. Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
He said take it. He just said cut it off. I'm gonna go back to the game. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that today.
No.
Nobody's crushing receivers over the middle. Nobody's running down from across the field receivers and running backs. And this is Ronnie Lott played in an era where the speed of the game was becoming elite. And that's why that's why I said if any of your guys played in the 70s, I'm sorry. I know there were some dudes out there. Yale Leary, Donald Shell. I get it. There were some dudes out there. But listen.
Yeah, was it Ken Water? What was
Ken Houston. Ken Houston. There were some dudes who could play. But my point is that the speed of the game in the late 80s into the 90s, and these guys that we mentioned, Brian Dawkins, I saw a play where Brian Dawkins baited the sheriff. And if you don't know the sheriff, that's Peyton Manning. He baited him into think he was going to go one way, and Peyton was setting him up to double move him. And Brian Dawkins baited him to go away. Peyton went the opposite way, and Dawkins knew it and flew across the field to intercept that pass before it got to the outside hash of the field. I've never seen someone outsmart Peyton Manning. And Brian Dawkins was a player who could do it. And it was just fantastic. Now, don't get me wrong. Ed Reed's a bad man. Troy Polamalu had, I think, fantastic instincts of the game. But Ronnie Lott, man, was just a different human. That's what translates to me. The Super Bowl rings, the gold jackets, the numerous Super Bowls, playing with the elites of the elites. He played with the GOAT before Tom Brady. Played with the GOAT at receiver all time. The man could just flat out get after it.
Yeah. I mean, those were the guys that we kind of, for me, I grew up seeing just because you remember seeing all they used to have that NFL like crunch or whatever it was,
Blitz. Was it Blitz?
The hits, and those were the guys you saw were running a lot. Darren Woodson, John Lynch, those guys. Yeah, that's who you saw making those hits. But yeah, definitely Ronnie Lott's just all-time favorite.
Great list compiled, I think, by everybody. Those are a strong list. And there's plenty of honorable mentions. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of dudes out there that could have been on the list. But I'm sorry. I think that list that we all kind of put together, we have some great names all across the board. I think if, there's some guys out there that I would be like, okay. What's my guy's name out of New England? Leroy Butler. I think Leroy Butler could have been a name we kind of put up there. That's a guy. We can't forget about played for the Steelers, Rod Woodson. We can't forget about him, but he played both positions. He was a corner, and at the end of his career, he played safety. I mean, so I kind of put him more as a corner than as safety. And there's some people out there probably yelling at the screen until I just said that. And then they're like, oh, yeah, he did start his career. He grew old and became a fast safety because he was so fast at corner. It was the age that kind of slowed him down a little bit. But
I mean, he's a guy that they bring up when they talk about great corners. They bring it up with Dion. So
right, exactly. That's the kind of name we're talking about when you get Rod Woodson into the mix. I think we had a good list. What are y'all thinking about doing for next week? What position? We went defense this week, offense next week. Are we still going to slow play? We get to the big positions, or what are we talking about, Wes? What are you thinking?
I mean, I still think we should not quite go to the big time offensive positions, but maybe go either tackle or tight end.
I was thinking tight end. You like tight end? James, you like tight ends?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Down with that.
You down with tight ends?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You down with tight ends? Cool. It's settled. It's a democracy here. It's not a dictatorship, but it's definitely a democracy.
Yeah. I got a lot of stuff to say about tight ends.
I bet you do, James. You got to save it for a little while. Just save it real quick. Put it away right now. Let's transition. Let's get off the rails a little bit. Great segue for James, talking about a lot of things going on. Anything new? I got some new movies I watched this weekend. I'll wait till go last. This is y'all's show. It's not mine. Then I'm going to hear Wes is going to tune in. But your name not on it. Your name not on it. Wes, I know you were busy this weekend, James. I heard you grilled a little bit. Besides watching the sporting events, what did you get into?
I did watch Netflix. There's a Netflix true crime series about a trial that's being covered heavily by the media right now.
Okay.
This family, it's called the Murdaugh Murders.
Yeah.
On Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, crazy. I watched that. It's 3 episodes, not too long. They're about an hour each, but it's very interesting. And I feel like a lot of that stuff is going on everywhere.
Yeah.
In America. So it's sad and it's crazy, but I feel like this dude's finally gonna get served his justice. And
this is about the dad who allegedly, is that what this is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what he's being tried for now is the murder of his wife and son.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I honestly believe
the trial's coming to an end soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah,
that's interesting.
It's nuts, dude. It's really nuts.
It's kind of crazy how the world kind of goes on when there are these just like, grotesque incidents of violence, and then you have people covering it wall to wall. Like Court TV is all over the world apparently. So it's just kind of weird, but it's just that's the real world. You have just weird people in the world.
Yeah,
kind of odd.
Yeah,
but a good documentary.
Yeah, it's
had some feedback from the viewers talking about you got them into a golf documentary. So
really?
Maybe they'll tune into this. I doubt it.
I haven't watched any, but I'm just so I'm just so busy, dude. Like my time that I spend in front of the TV, just like
real minimal,
is kind of
what's going on. Okay,
limited. Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, and a lot of times I'm there watching, I end up just falling asleep.
Okay.
But another thing real quick. Megan, the one with the Android.
robot?
Yeah, it's the unrated version is streaming
Put some
on.
respect on her name.
Yeah, Android is streaming on Peacock, and it's the unrated version, which the one I saw in theaters was PG-13.
Okay.
So I prefer a little more gore and all that.
So that's going to be more gore, is that what's in?
Yeah,
okay.
I saw it last night.
Oh, so you watched it already?
Yeah,
It's okay.
Yeah, it was good.
A little bit more violent.
It's good. It's a fun watch. Just don't go in there expecting like the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it.
Okay.
Just to be real with you.
Right.
But I'll listen to you for the ending there. Wes, I know you did a lot of driving this weekend, saw a lot of good people. Anything you got to catch on your downtime?
What? I mean, no, I kind of was watching college basketball. That was really about it.
Okay.
Didn't watch anything new because I felt like I couldn't stay awake to watch, so I just watched old stuff, watch my Golden Girls, that kind of thing.
I will say this for me, and I've never liked this show like in the early 2000s. I mean, in the early 2010s, because I was watching another show, had to do with ducks and people with beards. That's what I was watching at that time. But before I get to go to bed and I'm kind of like winding down, drinking my peppermint tea, relaxing, after around 10:30 after the news is off, Big Bang Theory comes on. And that's kind of an interesting show. And I was just like, I never really got into it, but now that I'm kind of a little bit older, I'm like, oh, this is like an interesting topic, and just find the humor and the wit. And I don't know. I like highbrow comedy. So kind of watching the way they make jokes and the way they make fun of each other with, just different kind of verbiage, I think is really fun. It's kind of interesting, kind of cool. Any movies? What's up, Wes?
Sheldon was pretty, Sheldon's hero. He's the funniest one to me. To me, he's hilarious.
Well, that's how I got introduced to it. I saw people watching Young Sheldon, and I'm like, what is this? What's this little nerd kid running around? And then it turns out to be it's the prequel or the pre-series to Big Bang Theory. Then I got to celebrate. I went to 3-year-old's birthday party Sunday. That was fun. It was cool. Brought a little gift, bubble machine. Can't go wrong with a bubble machine. 3-year-old. Lots of kids running around.
Bubble machines are getting pretty just like when I was a kid, man, we didn't have a bubble machine or whatever. So you just had that little tube and you had the little stick with the thing. That was it, man.
You're not supposed to blow in it, right? You're supposed to spin it. You're supposed to wave it like a wand. That's why it's a bubble wand.
You know what, man? I do what I want. If I wanted to blow it, I just what I did.
Hey, look, Bobby Brown. That's your prerogative. All right,
Yeah,
that's your prerogative. Right. I knew I could set that up. Yeah.
You talking about the little thing had just a little. You were supposed to spin that one.
Just a little.
It seemed like it was too small. Now I know the big ones, they're like this big or whatever. Those, I know you do that.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm just talking about the little tiny ones.
You're right.
He's all blew those too.
Hey man, it's your world. You can do what you want.
Because even like when we go to weddings, they stopped doing rice in weddings. So then they would give you the little thing of bubbles.
You're a grown ass man. You're blowing bubbles at a wedding.
Man, really, dude, it's at the wedding. It's for the bride and the groom.
You better give that. You better give it to the little kid and keep it moving.
Hey, first of all, I'm not giving anything to little kids. Nobody wants to bring kids to a wedding anyway.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. I'm just saying. If you ever go to my wedding, you can bring your kids. I'm not like Wes.
I'm just saying. I would. It's not that you're taking it the wrong way. The last thing you want to be worried about is if your kid, it's all right.
Drinks the bubbles.
You want to go out, have you a good time, hit the dance floor.
All right.
But if you got a kid, man, you got to worry about what the kid wants to eat and this and that. And then if the party's going good, you can't be out too late with the kids. And also, you definitely don't want to be driving, drinking and driving with a kid.
Right.
So.
Right. I can understand
Get a babysitter and an Uber.
Understandable.
Can I ask y'all, since we're off the rails, I want to ask y'all something pertaining to kids and parenthood as well.
I don't have any, so.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
I just want y'all's opinion. So, like, for me, like, so I have a kiddo. He's going to 7th. Next year, he's going to be playing ball, right? And
Talk about football?
Yeah, he is going to play football, but he's more looking forward to playing basketball.
Gotcha.
And so he was all like, he's like, yeah, I want some Jordans. And I was like, nah, pump your brakes, Papa. I said, I'm gonna get you some shoes, but I said, if you want some Jordans, you're gonna have to go out there and earn them.
Right.
And you're gonna have to be dropping some buckets, boy. Let me tell you, because I'm not gonna have you out there wearing Jordan socks, wristband, whatever, and you're sitting on the bench or you're just trash. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not what you're playing for. Like it's all cosmetics. Go out there and do what you're supposed to do. And he was like, he didn't like that. Still doesn't like it. Cool. That's what's gonna happen though. And then my kiddo, he was like, I told him, I said, man, I'm gonna get y'all to, I'm gonna take y'all to buy some shoes, probably sometime this week because they need new shoes. And my son was like, yeah, these kids, they always make fun of my shoes. They're like, look at my shoes and look what you have.
Right.
I told him some choice words to tell those kids,
Okay.
But I'm like, I know what it was like when I was in school and stuff, and I know how kids are.
Yeah, kids are shitty.
But I'm like, dude, like, you gotta earn this shit, dude. If you want, like, I'm probably not gonna be buying my kiddos the most expensive shoes that's out there. Actually, I'm not. But if you want like a nice ass pair of shoes, like you gotta work for that. You know what I'm saying? Like it costs money.
Sure.
And then they're kids. They run the hell out of them. They do this and that. Like, come on. You know what I mean? Like I have a pair of Jordans. I've only had 2 pairs of Jordans in my life. I'm not a Jordan fan.
And who bought them for you?
I did.
That's right. That's right.
The first one, I don't have them no more. I ended up working with them. I had to toss them because they weren't worth the fuck. The second one, I hardly ever wear them because they're nice, and I just I wear them on like weekends or if I go out. And so but I was a big like sneaker guy up until I had kids, and I just kind of just abandoned the whole hobby. But I'm just like, dude, you gotta earn this stuff, dude. And just because you're playing basketball doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna get like top of the line shoes or any of that.
Right.
I know I wanted to hear Wes's opinion because I know he played ball in school and stuff, but I feel like when he was coming up playing ball, like a lot of this stuff wasn't around, or was it like it's like $100 and something shoes?
Yeah, I mean Jordans were expensive. They were popular too. But I mean, a lot of people don't want to play in their Jordans also because it's pretty playing basketball in Jordans, and it's pretty rough on the shoe. But I was a kid. I played in my Jordan, black top or whatever. But I had certain shoes that I played in if I played inside, and then I had certain shoes that I played when I played on the like outside of the black top or whatever. But it is something that it kind of sucks that the kids are making fun of each other or whatever about it. Now that I don't really remember. Because my first place where I grew up, like everybody was poor. Like nobody was really that rich. I mean, it had a lot of money, so you couldn't really make fun of anybody about what they had because none of us had shit. But when I moved out north to the
suburbs,
I guess, it was kind of a deal. I mean, nobody really made fun of me about it, but I could just tell like. Kids just decided they wanted something, and that's what they got. Now, if I say, "Hey, I wanted that," well, first thing my mom would say, "Well, that grass needs to be cut. This needs to be done. That needs to be done." Well, I just want some shoes. I don't want to do work.
Yeah.
But like you said, they had to be earned. Like, hey, you got to get all A's or all A and B's because we know I didn't get all A's. Or you had to,
still don't.
You had to do, like I said, you had to cut the grass, clean the garage, do something for you to get some shoes or whatever. And but then once I had to buy my own shoes, I stopped. I did not buy Jordans. I bought what was ever on clearance and in my size. But I also got shoes all the time too for playing on whatever team and all that kind of stuff.
Well, James, what do you think about this? What do you think about letting that kiddo earn the shoes through other means than just playing. Now, I understand why you want them to be productive on the court because of what it looks like, the appearance, the optics. But if they went out and earned those shoes through their own hard work, that's a little bit different story because they understand what it takes to put in to get out those shoes from their own labor.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not talking about you have to – I'm talking about he could go do odd jobs for people, around the neighborhood, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, in that case, it's his money. You know,
there you go.
Yeah, in that case, it's his money. Because I was gonna say before you threw in the last part is that like I'm not paying nobody to do stuff around the house or around the yard because this is our, this is our.
That's your labor pool.
Yeah, it's off. Like if you go outside and clean up the yard or you mow, it's for all of us. We all live here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't get paid to whatever to cook or whatever.
Right.
But again, like being a parent and remembering when I was young, I wanted nice ass shoes. I wasn't even playing basketball, but I wanted the Vince Carter shocks and my mama wasn't making a whole lot of money, but she still
found a way.
Makes me feel bad now, dude. But she would always tell me, she was like, once you start working for your own,
you'll understand.
Sure enough.
And that's kind of where I pointed that direction. If you teach, it's like the old saying, if you teach a man to fish, he'll never go hungry, right? Yeah. So if you teach a child how to earn that money, they're going to think twice. Well, I took all this time out of my life to get this money to buy these shoes. Do I want to buy the shoes or do I want to do something different?
Yeah.
Now, if they really want the shoes, they're going to go do what it takes, right? And so that's what you have to ask yourself. But if the kid's a phenom, right, the shoes are going to come.
Here you go.
The shoes are going to come.
They just went and pulled out a $500 loan. Here you go.
So at the same time, it's like if he wants to do the work on the court and be a phenom, then by all means, it'll come to you. But you got to work is the point. You have to do something in order to reap the benefits of either earning the money to buy the shoes or being so good on the court that things are going to come to you.
There's a girl playing.
How much does he play basketball?
They play all the time. They play outside all the time. He's in pre-athletics. He's in 6th grade right now, so he's the best at everything he does. And
so I got a question. What's up? If I were you, I would find a pickup game of sophomores or juniors in high school and say, go play. Because if he starts playing against kids who are 4 or 5 years older than him, he's going to have to keep up or fall behind. West, stop me if I'm wrong. And if
I mean,
if he goes and plays with those kind of guys, it's just like when I need to take you. If we go to an event and there's a 14-year-old quarterback throwing to grown men who are in college, he's going to have to rise to that level of production. And he's going to be he's probably physically the same size, but in his mind he's not. And that's what he needs is those mental reps and that experience that's going to come with playing with people who are older than you. And Wes, I'll let you pick it up with being younger. And Wes, I'm sure you were the size of most men when you were 12, 13, 14 years old? 6 foot? When were you 6 foot? How old were you when you were 6 foot?
6 foot, I didn't hit it until the summer after my 8th grade year.
Okay, how old were you? 13, 14?
Dude, I can't remember. Whatever, yeah. I guess, yeah.
13. You were 13. You were 6 foot.
14, probably.
Okay, 14. You were 6 foot.
Maybe, yeah.
It doesn't. Here's the point. The average height of a male in the United States is 5'10". You were 5'10" in 6th grade.
No, I was probably 7th grade.
Okay, my bad. 1 year. My bad. You were 5'10" in 7th grade. Cool. How old is your kiddo?
Yeah, LJ, my son. He is he's
5 foot, 5'2", 5'4".
He's probably about 5'2", 5'3".
Okay, and how old is he? You don't got to give the age. What grade
12.
is he in?
He's 12. He's 6th grade.
He's going to go to 7th, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Wes, you are already like 4 inches, 5 inches taller than the kid.
Yeah.
My point is that you don't have to let him go play giants, but go play kids who are older than him, similar size. There's guys out there. There's people out there. And just see how he's going to – because there's going to be some shoving. Yeah. This little kid's coming. He wants to come play with us. All right, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
There's like with them too, because like I'll be outside watching them and stuff, and we'll play and stuff. But one thing with like these younger kids, dude, they love their celebrations, dude. They're over here doing the LeBron, they're doing the fucking Carmelo Anthony,
Sure.
They're doing all kinds of shit. And I always tell them all the time, I'm like, dude, like just chill, man. And I'm like, I told him the other day, I said, you know what's going to happen one day? I said, the game's going to be on the line. You're going to get the ball to make the game-winning shot. And you're going to be up there. You're going to be shooting. But in your head, you're going to be like, what celebration am I going to do when I make this? Am I going to do the gritty? Am I going to do the LeBron? What am I going to do? And what's going to happen is it's going to clone right off the backboard. And you ain't going to do shit because you missed the thing as you're thinking about your celebration. I was like, don't worry about that, man. Put the ball in the hoop first. And then worry about all the extras, which is the cosmetics, trust me, like when I played ball, like I didn't play like organized, but I'm just competitive all around.
Okay.
And so I get hyped, but it all came second, because you got to put the ball in the hoop first.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Like I don't know if I agree with that 100%, but that's just me. I don't know if I agree 100%. Let me tell you the reason why. It's because look, I'm not a superstar athlete. I was okay. But if I was better than you, I was going to let you know.
Yeah.
I was going to talk to you all game long.
But you got to prove it first that you're better
than that
person.
Just, you get on the field 1, 2, 3 plays, who you can take care of business on. And it's a feeling. It's a swagger. And dudes out there, Wes, you can pick it up because you played college ball.
I think you're talking about two different things. When you're talking smack, you can still talk smack and be in the game or whatever.
Right.
But when James is talking about him celebrating and doing the LeBron and all that kind of stuff, to me, I don't like it just because you got to get back on defense.
Yeah.
You got to get back. You got to get ready. There's no time to be celebrating. To me, at least that's the way back when we played. That's why our coach didn't like it. Because usually after we scored a bucket, we were setting up in a full court press. So there wasn't no time to do any kind of celebrating, but maybe you yell while you run to your spot or something like that. But as for dancing and all that kind of stuff, I don't like that kind of stuff. That's a quick way for you to come sit on my bench if I'm coaching. You start doing all that kind of stuff. Because to me, it's all about getting set up for defense. You got to act like you've been there before, Unless it's like just an and one play, you can give like a little yell or something like that when it stops. But then you know what? You got to go to the line and make the free throws.
And that's the difference. So go ahead, Wes.
To me, celebrating, unless it's the end of the game or something like that, is really, you can clap and yell, but to do all the dancing, unless it's the end of the game and you won the game, what's the point of it? Because now, let's say you do this dance and you lose the game.
Now you look like a fool.
And I think that's just the difference between the two sports about football and basketball. Basketball has a lot of nonstop. In football, there's always the end of a play, and then you're going to go do your dance. I'm sorry, but you got to let that person know you're coming. Football, to me, is a little bit more psychological just because there's 11 dudes that got to do their job against another 11 dudes who are trying to do their job. And all it takes is one person. One person wins, it's going to be a big celebration on one side of the ball.
Yeah.
But I understand getting back on defense. I understand all that. I think it's just psychologically it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I think across the board also, one thing to remember, if you're going to trash talk, you better back it up. Because if not, it means nothing. You look like a clown.
I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a lot of people who still like to talk, and they just garbage.
Those are clowns.
But they in their mind they're not, and that's what's crazy. Is like there's some foolish people out here, and I'm like, man, you just foolish,
dude. Playing pickup ball all the time, it was always dudes that just weren't that good, but they ran their mouth, and what they would try to do is just trying to get you out of your game, get you out of your get you forgetting what you're supposed to be doing out there, and or getting you frustrated and just angry, and you mess up or you're playing too hard or something. I don't know. That's what they do. They try to just get in your head because obviously that's their weapon.
But how much more gratifying and how much more difficult is it if you got someone who's just a phenom and who can talk to you the whole game? If they're in your head and they just dominating on you on the court, that's a magical calculation right there.
It's demoralizing.
That's exactly right. That's what I was trying to get out of my mouth, but it couldn't come out. I appreciate that, James. It is demoralizing. But that's what I'm saying. I like to talk and I like to make sure you get embarrassed.
I got to, I'm trying to be a dad and a coach at the same time while they're out there playing ball.
In my opinion.
No, it doesn't. But I'm like, dude, and they're like, he's talking mess. Dude, stop him. He can't talk mess if you stop him.
That's right.
And then when they do, that smile turns into a frown.
Right.
I don't know, man. It's sports. I'm really looking forward to watching my boys get into competitive sports in school and all that.
That's going to be a fun time. Yes. Gentlemen, it's time to put a bow on it. Let's wrap this bad boy up. James, what do you want to tell the folks?
Dark Side this week.
Sweet.
Friday. Probably be a recorded show, but yeah, we're trotting along.
Wes?
Yep. Once again, man, everybody love everybody. Check on your peoples, man. See how they're doing.
What's the score to the game, Wes?
Hogs are down 9 with 19 minutes left in the second half. And last I looked, the Mavericks weren't doing too good either.
All right. Well, let's get out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all watching this week. As always, love yourselves, love your neighbor. We appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll see y'all next week. Take it easy.